Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today I'm coming to you from the middle of nowhere in Mount Rainier National Forest, I think it's called. We are in a small little mountain town. We rented the most adorable modern little cabin in Ashford, Washington. And we spent all day here yesterday. We're here for spring break. And we got a little bit of cabin fever, so we are deciding to go into a nearby mountain town called Morton. And it sounds like they have a pretty cute coffee shop and maybe even a couple of thrift stores. I'm not sure if the stores are going to be like thrifty thrift stores or if they're going to be more like an antique store or an antique mall. So we'll just kind of see when we get there. But I thought I would take you guys along. Let's go see what they have for us in Morton, Washington at these little mountain town thrift stores. The first store we went to was called the Rabbit Hole. It was a really well curated thrift store with very affordable pricing and a lot to look at. While the footprint of the store was actually pretty small, it really did feel like a rabbit hole because it kept going and going. And just when you thought you had gotten to the end, you would look around the corner and there'd be a whole other section of inventory. So like I said, there was a lot of fun stuff to look at and their pricing was really great. I love this mid-century modern butter dish. The color and that little speckle detailing was so cute and it was only $2. These floral plates caught my eye. They would be perfect for a spring tablescape. They're in really good vintage condition, but there were only 3 of them and I would need at least a set of 4. I was surprisingly drawn to this little ceramic jug with a little lassie dog face on it, and it was only $4. I thought I had already gone through the clothing section, but like I mentioned earlier, I turned the corner and there was a whole other section of the store. So I did notice that they mostly had women's clothing. They did have a small section for kids and a small section for men, but mostly the clothing that I saw was women's. And again, they had affordable pricing. We're talking $3 to $5 for a pair of pants. My husband really likes using vintage greeting cards for people and holidays, so he found a whole stash of them here in the craft corner. Directly across the street from the Rabbit Hole was this little vintage store called Highway 7 Resell Heaven. It was one big rectangular layout with lots of stuff to look at. It's all owned and run by the same person, so it's not like a curated antique mall where there's different booths run by different people. I actually spent some time talking to the owner, and she said that she sources everything herself from road trips or estate sales and garage sales, and she tries to keep things pretty affordable because she knows people here don't have access to much. And she also said they emphasize selling everyday items for the exact same reason, that they just want to make these things more accessible to the small town people that live there. You guys know I'm a sucker for a vintage piece of artwork, so I had to dig through these little framed pieces that were stuffed behind these pillows. how precious would this set of 3 Peter Rabbit prints be in a little nursery? I thought they were so adorable, and my kids are far past that age, but they were only $17.99 for the set of 3. So my daughter grabbed the other one that goes with this little taxi cab, but this was part of a salt and pepper shaker set, which I thought was so unique, as is that Kermit the Frog phone. That was such a fun little excursion, and we did end up buying a couple of things. The first being these 2 decks of cards, which my husband wanted because it's just something that we realized we don't have that much of. I think we have like 1 deck of cards. I guess cards was the theme of the day because we also got some of these assorted greeting cards, or whatever you call them. We bought a box of them at a garage sale a couple of years ago, and they're actually dwindling down. Our collection's dwindling. So we've been needing to stock up, and they usually have these at thrift stores for very inexpensive. These were like 25 cents each. And the decks of cards were like $2 and $3 each. And then the last and my most favorite thing that we bought today was this floral painting that I showed you in the store. I just thought this was so pretty, and it's a really good size because I could use it on a surface like a credenza or a mantle or something like that, or I could hang it on the wall. And I just love that it's not a picture of a cat, because while I do have a ton of vintage artwork already, most of it is of like jungle cats. So that does it for today, and I will take you with us tomorrow if we hit any other thrift stores. It is the next day, and we are gonna hit at least 1 thrift store on our way out of town. We are packing up the house, and then we have to be out by 11, and the drive home is only about 2 hours. So we kind of have most of the day to kill. So that gives us plenty of time to stop by a thrift store and have some lunch. So I think the place we're gonna go to is like a mercantile. It's half antique mall and half thrift store. Half is like curated with booths, and the other half is a your traditional thrift store. A gal that we met at the coffee shop yesterday actually told us about it, but I had also seen it on Yelp. So I'm excited to check it out and see what they have. It should be quite the experience. So here we are at Center Street Junction Mercantile and more. This was a massive thrift store with lots of furniture at the front, which got me excited. There's also a coffee shop at the front too. So they really mean it when they say mercantile and more. This was another store with affordable pricing, which I was happy to see. Sometimes when you go into these small towns, they're able to ask more because there's less supply, but I was really happy to see that they were keeping the prices so low at this store. I loved the fabric and wood detailing on this little side chair. The seat cushion was completely collapsed in the middle, and the fabric was pretty dirty, but it was only $9.99, and had it been in a little bit better condition, I probably would have gotten it. I loved this set of lidded soup bowls. They just had so much vintage charm to them, and they were only $1.99 each. The craft section at thrift stores is usually so disorganized, I just walk right by it because it's just too overwhelming. But they did such a nice job keeping this area organized at this store that I was actually able to look through certain things that I knew I needed, and I just thought they did such a good job organizing it. Sadly, there were only 3 of these brass bow-shaped napkin rings. If there had been 4, I definitely would have gotten them. They're so, so beautiful. I loved the detailing on this little beaded coin purse. It says it's made in Japan, but one of the flower petal beads was missing, so I decided to pass on that. And then I found my kids looking in the other half of the store, which was actually a curated antique mall with different booths run by different individuals offering so many different items, some of which were handmade and others that were completely vintage. That store was so fun to look through. We spent at least an hour and a half in there. They even had a coffee shop, so my husband got a coffee, and then my kids found the antique mall side while I was over in the thrift store. And then we were just walking back and forth. There was so much to look through, as you can tell from the footage. So I did not even go into the clothing section because honestly, it was so packed. The aisles were so narrow that like I couldn't walk through the clothing aisles without being like brushed up against the clothes. And I don't know, I guess I was feeling claustrophobic. But I had so much fun looking through the housewares and the furniture and then eventually the antique portion of it. And I must say, I know I already said this, but the prices were so much more affordable than they would normally be in Portland area. So it was fun to see like those collector's items at an affordable price. There were a couple of items that I thought about purchasing, but I just didn't need, and I couldn't resell them for enough of a profit to make it worth purchasing them today. But let me show you what I did get at the thrift store. I also didn't want to buy things that were like everyday items because it's a very small mountain town, kind of in the middle of nowhere, and they don't really have access to a lot of the things that I have access to at home. So I didn't want to like buy a million things and take them away from the people there that don't have regular access to those everyday items. But the prices in the thrift store were also way more affordable than here, as you saw. So the 2 things that I did end up walking away with were this little box. It was 99 cents, and I believe it is a tea tin or a tea bag box. It's like aluminum or something, and it has these cranes painted on it, which I just thought were so gorgeous. Like this would look so pretty on someone's bar cart or tea cart or in your kitchen if you like this kind of like vintage art deco or Asian style piece. And it's like a nice neutral blue color. So this will definitely be in my Etsy shop. And then I did end up buying these. I got 3 of them. I contemplating just getting 2 because I like the idea of having an even amount of, like, if it's a set, I like having an even amount. I also don't like leaving something behind. I would hate to leave just one behind because I wanted to buy 2. So these were each $1.99. They are from the 1980s. I did a brief lookup online. They're from the 1980s, and they just have like this cute wooden handle, and it's loose right now, but I can easily tighten it with this screw. And then this is what the inside looks like. They're all in really great condition, and they have this pretty blue floral dot pattern on the sides. So I never use things like this, but I know people do. So I thought I had to get these. Someone's gonna love them, and they're a nice neutral color and in excellent condition. Other than those two houseware items, we actually got a lot more. My husband got like 2 clothing items, a board game, and then my son and my husband got tons of basketball cards. I think I told you yesterday my husband was on like a card kick, like he was only buying things that were like card related, and so that streak continued today, and they both bought like 5 packs of vintage basketball cards that were individually wrapped in the antique mall portion of the store, but they were only like $1 or $2 per pack of like 8 to 10 cards. So they were thrilled about that. And then my daughter got like a handmade keychain from one of the antique booths as well. So that's gonna do it for today's video. I hope you had so much fun shopping in the mountains with me. And yeah, don't forget to hit up the thrift stores in your small towns or while you're on vacation. It's always fun to get a change of scenery and a change of selection. So it's always fun to see what they have in a new place. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed to my channel so you don't miss my future videos. Have a great week, and I'll see you in my next video.